Hello and welcome. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I'm creating a winter or Christmas themed card that's made with products from Hero Arts. I'm working with some of my crafty friends in a blog hop, so if you'd like to get more card making ideas to use your Hero Arts products, go over to my blog at jennyhalldesign.com and you can find all of the links there. I'm going to use some infinity dies that are the rectangle and some wonderful inks that are from Hero Arts. These are not dye-based ink. This is a hybrid ink and it works a little bit differently. So I'm going to use the ink blending technique and add the color to a piece of watercolor paper. I'm using a blending brush, but you could certainly use a sponge dauber, a sponge, or a blending tool with a little foam attachment on it and get the same type of look. I prefer to use these blending brushes because they work really easily for me. I'm going to add color to the very bottom of the piece of watercolor paper, starting with blue and then working my way up into warmer colors. The first one I thought would work nice for a transition from the blue was the purple. And there are two different colors of purple that Hero Arts carries. This is the lighter of the two. It's called Thistle. What I'm trying to do is to work the color into the blue area and then up lighter into the remainder of the paper. And as I add this color, which is Creamsicle, I'm going to bring it down into the purple and then work it up into the white as well. Most of the top is going to have that pink look. And what I was thinking when I chose this color combination is that it's going to look like an evening, a snowy evening in winter, and there's a couple of little critters that are just going to be hanging out and maybe getting ready to turn in for the night. After I get all of the color onto that watercolor paper, I used a distress sprayer to add just a few dots of water. Mind you, these are large spots of water, but that's okay. I dab them up very quickly, and then I'm going to add white ink, which is called sea salt, from the same type of ink, and it gives me that hazy look. So the water droplets have created the bokeh effect with the white over it. It kind of makes it a little hazy. But I want to give the look of some snow, so I've added just a little drop of white acrylic paint on a clear block, watered it down, and I'm flicking it with a small paintbrush. If you don't have any of those products, try a white gel pen and just add little dots with a chalk marker or a white gel pen for the same type of look. This is much faster for me, so it works out well. So I chose to use one of those rectangle infinity dies to cut down the panel so that it will be completely nice and no straggly ends from my paper cutter. Not that the paper cutter doesn't do a good job, but it's the fact that this makes a completely perfect rectangle, and I like that very much. So I took a spare piece of heavy white cardstock and just did like a wavy line, and that's going to be a snowbank that is going to be represented as where the bunnies are kind of sitting on. I have the idea to create the bunny in the background and the bunny on the snowbank, but in two different colors. So I'm placing the little bunny stamps where they will go in the mini Misty. And first I'm going to add the stamping onto the watercolor panel. So I first have treated with an anti-static tool, and now I'm using Hero Arts Intense Black ink to ink up those little bunnies. And then I will put some clear embossing powder over that ink while it's still wet, and then I'll heat that up. And it'll seal that whole bunny and make it look shiny. It's just a nice little touch that I like adding for a silhouette look. Now I'm going to place that snowbank back in, and I'm going to use Altenew's Evening Gray, I think it's called, ink. And so this is going to give a gray look to what's on the snowbank and the black look that's on the background. So together it kind of makes it two-toned, but maybe a shadow look. It was just an idea that I had that I wanted to try to flesh out. The watercolor paper is going back into the MISTI so that I can heat emboss a sentiment. So I again treated it with anti-static tool, and this time I used Versamark ink to stamp and then white embossing powder to add the sentiment. It'll set itself out away from the background, and it'll match the card base that's going to be white as well. And I'm attaching this panel to the card base with some double-sided foam tape. I like to use a couple of different brands. 3M is one that I often reach for, and it lets me have a few seconds maybe, to reposition. I'm adding that snowbank with some Nuvo glue. This is the glue pen, and I'm going to gently press it in place and try to line up where I stamped the gray onto the snowbank. And to top it off and finish the project, here are some clear sparkly sequins from Lucy's cards, and that's going to finish the project. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and that it gives you lots of inspiration for your own card making. And I would encourage you to stop over at jennyhalldesign.com and find all the links for the video hop. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day.